Hi, this is Eshkalar Sandbox. It's also been used as a cat box. That's why I wish you'd curb your pets. But at any rate, I'm here to talk about a very important subject. Yes. I'm going to answer a question posed by someone who knows Eshkolar a little. She doesn't know Eshkolar close. She's a fortunate woman. But still, she had asked a question about it, having read some of Wild Bull or whatever his name is, Red Bull, whatever. Read some of his books that he chronicles the adventures of the heroes of PatchWorld. She asked him, at least this is what he said. She says, "So Eshklar can't be killed." It's like, au contraire. I have decided to answer this question personally to you, Kerry King, because you're worth it. Now here you go. There are three classes of immortal. The first lives till it dies. The second can come back from the dead, barring certain exceptions. The third, in other words, type 3 immortals, live off this plane of existence in some heaven or hell or other shadow plane. And they create an avatar, a fake them, and they send it to do their work. So that's type 1, will live until somebody kills her, it dies of disease, or whatever it is it's vulnerable to. Different ones are vulnerable to different misadventures. Then there's type 2 immortals. The type 2 immortals, their bodies will try to repair them and reanimate them and even call their soul back if they're killed. There are things you can do to stop that, of course. And then there are type 3 immortals. Type 3 immortals usually, not always, but they usually live on some faraway plane, And from there, they send an avatar, right, to mortal worlds to do work that looks like them, that can die, but they won't die. See, they persist because they don't get killed. Now, those are the three types of immortals. And now the obvious question comes up. Well, Eshkar, you're so beautiful. Why do they need to give you extra powers? You're already beautiful. Why don't they just let you be a butterfly and admire you and enjoy you for those few days that you are beautiful? Screw that. I'm going to live forever. So anyway, what I am is, I am merely the chosen one of a qualified type 3 immortal. Yes, you guys don't realize this. You think that I'm like this guy. I'm just an old wizard and psionic prodigy. And the world's greatest comedian. And the world's greatest Canadian wizard. You can tell I'm Canadian because I know that if you can speak Chinese, you're Canadian. And if you don't know why that's funny, you're not Canadian. So anyway, well, you're either Canadian or you're going to be Canadian. Once people start running away from the PRC again. So anyway, I am not an immortal. Kerry King, if I'm killed on this plane of existence, I'm dead. That's the end. Eshkolar is not an immortal. But Eshkolar was chosen by the ring, which is now called the Ring of Eshkolar, to be its avatar in the real world. So instead of being on a separate plane and creating an avatar to do its work, the ring is in this world, or it was in the PatchWorld and the other continuas, which were magical continua. This one is not, so the ring can't exist. But the ring selected me to be its avatar. Instead of building an avatar and living on a faraway plane, it came here and was on my finger so it could enjoy the ride. And it didn't really have anything that it wanted done. It was bored. Cosmic boredom. So it threw itself at the craziest person it could find and enjoyed the ride. And it was a worthy ride. Darn ring stayed with me for almost 2,000 years, like I said. So I think out of all its avatars, I was the one it loved best. But it's an icon of chaos, so it's fickle. And here I am without it. So, in the old days, elves, though they assigned a lifespan to them, they weren't. They lived forever, unless they were killed by misadventure or combat or disease. Some elves are vulnerable to certain diseases, one of which is greed. Ask any dwarf. But at any rate, ask Fëanor. So anyway, elves will go on until they decide they don't want to go on anymore, or until something that can overwhelm them gets them. So the sword cut, you know, falling off that mountain in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, jumping off Wu Dang Mountain because maybe something good will happen. Not to this little black duck, I'm telling you, unless I can fly. So anyway, Type 1 Immortal lives till something kills it, or it gives up the will to live. That's what happens to elves mostly. They give up the will to live. And then the ones that live among humans, because they love so many people and they lose them all, they eventually give up. But they are living in the world of mortals is fast and bright and brilliant, and it's like having the world's greatest kaleidoscope. The things just like flutter by and flitter in. It's all very pretty, right? Which is why Drano, or whatever his name is, came to the world of men instead of living up in the ice mountains where his people live and raise griffins. Gag. You ever try to clean a griffin cage? P.U. So anyway, but he came to the world of men because he didn't get along with elves. Elves are very magical. He's not very magical. And so he came to the world of men, discovered that he loved it there because there were so many things to do. And men just going everywhere and doing every kind of thing. And they were all children. You know, they didn't really know. They were just learning. Always just learning. It was wonderful. So Drano, or whatever his name is, he had a good time in the world of men till finally caught up with him. Now, I, on the other hand, was going to be a mortal wizard. Just roll through life until whatever drugs I was doing got me. Like that night I was so drunk I was drowned in a 1/4 inch of water. And I died. Yeah, true story. Well, Eshkalar story. And the only reason I came back was because it had a ring on. And there's the deal. The ring is a qualified Type 3 Immortal. It could probably live on some other plane and just send its own avatars. But instead, it's bored. And so it forces itself to come to other planes, which is difficult for Type 3, as I said. Type 3 Immortals don't like the planes of living creatures and mortal creatures. They like their far away places. They're more comfortable there. But the ring turned itself into a lump of metal where it could easily exist in other continua, sent itself to one, looked for the wildest person it could. I pat myself on the back by keep hitting my hat on, knocking it off. I like the hat, don't want to lose it, you know. So at any rate, and it found me. And so for 2,000 years, the ring hung around with me. It was a good time. I mean, you know, we had a good time. But again, Kerry King, Wild Bull's old friend, whatever. But to address your question, no, I'm not immortal. I'm as mortal as anybody, especially now, because I'm no longer in a magical continuum. I can't cast spells. So all the things that were my strengths, pretty well gone. Psionic powers also don't transmit well in this continuum for some reason or other. It's good in some ways because I was a broadcasting telepath, so I had these dirty thoughts and girls start throwing stuff at me in the room because they could hear bad things, kid. So anyway, that's the story. I will not go on. This body dies, I'm done. However, in the past, when I had the Ring of Eshkolar, if I died, it didn't matter. The ring would regenerate me, either from whatever piece the ring was attached to, or if there was no me, the ring would generate me from nothing. Or it would wait until somebody put it on and regenerate Eshkolar from the new person. So consider it having an imprint of Eshkolar. Only once in my entire existence did that not function that way. Because I've become Eshkolar from various sources after the old Eshkolar was disintegrated or, you know, soaked in acid while people laughed. I had enemies. I deserve some of them. I'll tell you stories later on. But that's the story. The ring is the immortal. I'm not. The ring decided it liked me. And so it would just keep bringing me back, healing me up. Bang, I'd wake up. I'd be back in the world. And what do you think I was drunk and stoned all the time for? Because that's trauma, dude. I was hiding from it. Yeah, you know, old story. But anyway, that's all I had to say today. That was to address Kerry King's question: is Eshkolar immortal? Can he be killed? Yes, I can be killed. I can be killed. I can walk out the door here and be hit by a car. That's the end of Eshkolar. But if we were in PatchWorld and I had the ring, it'd be hard to kill me with a nuclear bomb because the ring has a fair core of iridium, I think, in it, which would survive. It would regenerate itself, reconstitute itself, and then create an Eshkalar, either out of the energy, the magic in the air, or from whatever creature came and went like, oh, that's pretty, stuck it on his finger. Ho, ho, ho. This is your old pal Eshkolar.